Well, hi everyone, and welcome to Two Qs with Lisa Ward. And our guest today is Miss Heather. So, Heather, go ahead and share a little about yourself.
Sure. I am a happy, healthy person. I feel like I should start with that. When people say, "Who are you?" and what that is the headline.
Love
Um,
it.
what I've done in terms of my past and how I've used that. I have a company, Ready, Set, Recover. I'm the CEO and founder. We help people get ready for and recover from surgery in a better way by looking at the human side of surgery. And before that, I've had some strange, wonderful jobs. I've been in charge of Synergy at ESPN. I've been in charge of Alchemy at Audacy. But really, what I do is I bring people together. I bring people together around priorities, either inside or outside of organizations, and help them find ways that they can actually play a big role in making those priorities happen and at the same time feel seen, heard, and celebrated.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Thank
So, I
you.
ask everyone the same two questions. So,
Yes.
your first one is, what do you want that you don't already have?
So I loved this question. And I loved it for a lot of reasons. Number one, it made me feel really good because it was hard to answer. I actually had a hard time coming up with a real answer to what don't I have.
That's
I felt,
fantastic.
yeah, I just incredibly lucky. And it reminded me of a time a couple years ago during COVID. There was a big lottery. The number was some cajillion dollars. And my youngest said, Mom, if we won the lottery, what would you do? And then she immediately said, I know, wait, you'd give it away. Okay, you can't just give all of it away, Mom. What would you do with the money?
Mm-hmm.
And so I sat there and I sat there and I said, I'd buy a tricked out camper van so we could travel all over the country. And my husband said, okay, so just let me get this straight. You're going to win $200 million and you're going to move us into a smaller house. I was like,
Okay.
yeah, that's what
Uh-huh.
I'm going to do.
That's
So
funny.
again, thank you for asking the question because it made me feel good. It made me feel really, really lucky to think about I got a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I also appreciate the dive deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and really, what I thought about was um, I have a bad case of sometimes getting sucked into the pre's. And the pre's are pre sad, pre angry, pre worried. So, what I wish I had that I don't was I wish I had the consistent ability to not get stuck in the pre's, to not go down that path. Like I said, I'm a wellness person. I have a lot of practices. I know a lot of stuff. I still get stuck going down into the pre's. And I wish I had the ability to not do that.
Hmm. That's like very acute self-awareness
Yeah.
to be aware of. Oh, nope, we're starting down a different path here. Hold
Yep.
on. Hold on.
Yep. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, is that something that I mean, I feel like that would be a part of the programs that you teach.
Oh, yes.
It's the pre-surgery and
Yes.
the mental spirals that people can go
Yes.
down.
Yes.
Um, so it's like we're our own worst enemies. We don't even do some of the things that we tell other people to do.
Correct.
Um, but I mean, we are human after all.
Correct.
We're not perfect.
Yes.
Um, so I mean, the second question, I mean, we are human. So
Yeah.
what's holding you back from not doing that? Like what's
Yeah.
holding you back
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
I mean, we are human. So
Right,
how would
right,
you answer
right,
that
right.
question?
Well, so you had told me those two questions, so I did think about it a little bit, what's holding me back. The first answer that came to my mind was my mom.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just gonna blame my mom, who's an amazing person, but you know, I just blame my mom. There is some nurture stuff there. I think about actually, again, years ago, my kids are small and my mom was visiting and we lived in New York City. And so I'm packing, pulling my children together in these big coats and a blanket and putting them into the stroller to bundle them up on a freezing cold day that I'm going to push them in the stroller to school. And my mother, we're from Wisconsin, and my mom says, "Oh, I remember the cold winters, and I was so worried. I worried every day that the car wasn't going to start. When I went out to the car, every day I was worried that in the winter that the car wasn't going to start." And I said, "How often did the car not start, Mom?" And she said, "Never." And I said, "So you worried every winter day that the car wouldn't start, and that never happened?" So again, my mom's not unique. We all do this.
Oh, yes.
So there is that push to do that. We fill silence with negativity and fear. Like it's just what happens. It's part of our condition.
Do you think it's easier to jump to the negative than the positive?
Oh yes, yes. I remember I was getting off an airplane once. And so I'm getting off the plane, and all of a sudden you hear in the airport, Heather Campbell, please go to the nearest white courtesy phone. And I turn around to the person who I'm in line with getting off the plane and I say, "I'm Heather Campbell." And they kind of look at me, and I said, "Yeah, it's never something good. It's not like you won the lottery and we're calling to tell you." Um, yeah, we automatically go to the negative. I do a lot of mentoring with especially young women,
Hmm.
through Big Brothers and Big Sisters and a couple of other different things. And I talk with them about it's it's normal. It's often happens that you fill silence with negativity. You're trying to network with someone, or you're trying to ask them for a job, and you email them and you've written the perfect email and you sent it and you don't hear anything. What I say to them is, unless you've actually heard the words from their lips coming into your ear that you suck and don't ever call me again,
Uh-huh.
they haven't said it.
Yep.
You don't know what happened. They may never have seen the email. Maybe they saw it, read it, and it hit their heart, and they thought, "Oh, this is such a great person. Yes, I want." And then, "Oh, yes, boss.
Girl,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes." And you just go down, and never to be seen again.
Hmm.
We don't know what happens. And now we have so many ways to communicate. And we feel, well, I texted them. I mean, they had to have seen it. I texted them. I looked at my daughter's phone the other day. I think she has like 800 unread texts. I mean,
Oh.
right. But you don't know. So, so yes, it is human nature. And yes, you're right. Part of Ready, Set, Recover, actually day 2 in Ready, Set, Recover is don't worry.
Mm.
And it's one thing to say that. I mean, because again, we all like, "Oh, I know I shouldn't be," but we need tools. We need
Hmm.
frameworks. We need reminders.
Hmm.
Within day 2, within the don't worry, we give people a number of different ways to stop the spiral. We work with grounding items. So is there something that you can keep in your pocket, or have on your desk, or have in your purse, have in your
Hmm.
backpack, that is just a physical reminder, something you can use? Mine's right here. I have a glass heart. It's a
Oh,
glass
how
heart. You
pretty.
see, put it against my hair. That'll give the contrast
There
of
you
color.
go.
Um, so I've got that. Sometimes I keep it in my pocket and I rub it. It's actually got a little bump right here that I like to rub on that feels different. Um, just something that gets me out of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that we do in Ready, Set, Recover on that day is breathing work.
Mm-hmm.
The breath is amazing. I mean, the
Yep.
breath is absolutely incredible. The hard part within all of this, though, is you have to actually use the tools,
Yeah.
So like meditation is a wonderful tool. It's a tool that has, gone beyond, it's not woo. People know, like there's science behind it. It chemically changes the makeup of your body. So
Mm-hmm.
I've read the studies. I know the studies. I've taken courses. I'm certified in mindful based stress reduction. I have actually sat with, not one-on-one, but I have sat with and meditated with Deepak and Thich Nhat Hanh before he passed.
Wow.
I've done it. And yet I have to meditate every day.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter that I've been with these guys to meditate or I've read all the study. I actually have to sit my tushy down and stop and meditate if I want to get the benefit of it. If I want to stop the prees from going, I've
Mm-hmm.
got to actually use the tools at my disposal. And that's hard. It's
Yeah. It's
hard to do.
making time for it. And our culture, I feel like, is go, 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 must
Right,
achieve all the things. There is no resting. We don't have siestas literally
correct,
built into our daily routine.
correct.
So it's not in our DNA
It's
to
not.
slow down.
When I worked at ESPN, there was a wonderful woman, Nina, who worked with me, and we had a weekly meeting on the calendar. And so she would come into my office at the appointed time, weekly meeting. We'd close the door, lock it. I'd take the 2 yoga mats out from under my couch, and we'd do yoga in
Wow.
my office. Now, it didn't have to be secret. It wasn't, but we had to have it on the calendar, and it was
Mm-hmm.
secret. It was not something, that I would move easily. Um, but it took work to do that. It was
Mm-hmm.
also very funny. When I left that office, someone came in, and at one point they were looking at the door and they're like, what is this mark on the door? And I said, that's from, sometimes I do a headstand when I'm wearing my shoes. And so that's my
Or
mark.
my feet would hit the wall.
When my feet hit the wall. Sorry about that. They're like, okay, yeah, I don't need to know. That's okay.
Yeah, that's not your normal corporate.
No,
Oh, oops. Okay.
yeah,
That's funny.
yeah,
But how fantastic of, an environment that you could do that.
yes, yes,
That's not normal.
no, no. And again, some of the, when I talk about the pre's, there's also the shoulds.
Mm,
Um, I look at what are the shoulds in an environment, like a corporate environment, and
mhm.
think about what are the things that I'm putting on myself that no one within a corporation has ever said. And by the way, I don't want any of you doing yoga in your office. I don't want anybody doing meditation in your office. No, trying to restart your body and get yourself in a place where you'll be able to be going and give us your all. No, 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 don't do that. They don't say that. We
Yeah.
just we're like, oh, I don't want to, do anything different. And I don't just do what you need to do. Um, but yeah, it was wonderful. It was wonderful to have that standing date. I also remember being in the elevator once with Nina and being like, triangle pose.
Yeah, we would be friends. I
Yeah,
would love
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, we should. That's a good should.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you smile?
Yeah.
Um, again, in the program, one of the things we talk about are the little things that you can do to give yourself great energy. Can you think of 3 small things that you can do? Not waiting to take the big vacation that's going to be amazing, but small things, cheap things, free things. For me, one of my three things is I love flowers. I love cut flowers because I can't kill them. They're already dead.
Yeah.
So not responsible. They're already on their way out. But I love having them in my house. I also love giving them to people. If you hold a bouquet of flowers to go give to someone, first of all, people will smile at you.
Mm-hmm.
Walk around with a bouquet. Like if you are feeling down and you need, if you're a person who feeds off energy of other people,
Mm-hmm.
walk around with a bouquet of flowers. Complete strangers will just smile at you. They see you, they're like, oh, flowers. Oh. And then you can be like, oh, they're giving that to me, not the flowers. So like I love walking around with the flowers. I love giving them to people. Trader Joe's, actually, if you have a Trader Joe's in your area.
Yes, their flowers are phenomenal.
And during March, April, they get daffodils from Ireland. These bouquets, 10 daffodils for, depending on where you live, between $1.49 and $1.79 for a bunch of 10. I sometimes buy 30. I have a small problem. But I have literally, and I just give them. I give them to the person who checks me out. I give them to a stranger on the street. I go to my kids' school and I give them to as many teachers as I can. I give them to dog walkers. I give them to doormen. I give them to people in my life. It creates a world of joy to just, number one, hold them, have people smile at me, give them to, and sometimes I get people, and not everyone wants the gift. That's the other thing about a gift. Sometimes people say no, thank you. And usually they don't say the thank you part. They just say no. And that's okay too. Not everyone wants the exchange. Not everyone is comfortable with the exchange. So people can say no, and that's totally fine. It just means I get to go give it to somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. An opportunity for someone else. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got some breathing. We've got do something that's good for you.
Yeah.
The physical thing to like break the thinking cycle.
Yeah.
What other tips do you have to prevent the prees?
Oh, to recognize it.
But yeah, that's step one. Yeah.
Yeah. To just say, oh, I see where I'm going. Huh. I see that this is happening. Do I want to go there? Usually not. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. And in those instances, I just let myself. I'm like, go for it. Like, what's the worst? Go for it. And then I think about back to my mom. How often has the car not started? Like, have I, like, is it really, like, what are the chances? Do I want to spend time on that? One of the other things, again, that kind of sets me up in a great way is, and again, we do this in the program, is for I'm thankful for. So every night in the program, we have you journal it. But for myself, every night I've got a journal and I write down 4 I'm thankful for, 4 things. It can be simple, it can be easy. Doesn't have to be a new thing. This isn't like, oh my gosh. Sometimes I'm thankful that I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
I'm really lucky. I, for the most part, get to go to sleep whenever I want. I don't have a job that I have to work a different shift. I don't have someone in my life whose health needs me to be paying attention to them. I get to go to bed if I'm tired, if I want. That's pretty amazing. I write that down. Very often, again, it's 4 I'm thankful for. There are some nights when I'm at, 14. I'm like, okay, I get it. You're thankful. Cut it out. Go to sleep
Hashtag
already.
blessed.
Oh my gosh. But that's a wonderful way for me to ease into sleep. And just seeing it on my bedstand when I wake up, I think about, oh yeah, I had a lot of things yesterday. I wonder what I'll get today.
Well, that's so much better than the, oh, I forgot to do. Oh, I forgot to do.
Yep.
Turn that brain off.
Exactly.
That would be so much Oh, wow.
Exactly.
Yeah, such a relief.
So that is what I'm going to sleep with. Like that
Mhm.
is right before bed, before I turn off the light, what I'm doing. Those are the movies I'm playing in my head. Those are the words that I'm saying to myself. Because to your point exactly, it's actually really interesting about sleep. Um, Again, I keep talking about ready, set, recover. I keep seeing it over my shoulder. I'm like, ah. Um, One of the other focuses of one of the daily actions is on, we call it nighttime necessities, going to sleep.
Mhm.
And again, we all have heard you should sleep a lot. You should get a good night's sleep. If for people who have children, think about when you had your child and you were getting them ready to bed. Did you put them in front of a movie and give them caffeine and then rush them into the room and say, go to sleep?
Yeah.
No, you gave them a bath, you gave them some milk, you read a story, you maybe sang a lullaby, you said, I love you, and then you tucked them in and they. Why do we think we can just be like this?
Mhm.
So that's one of my nighttime necessities. That's my wind down. My kids laugh at me because they of course hear a lot of this stuff. I hope as they become adults, they live into it. But we'll talk about, is it bedtime positive? Like, oh, that's not bedtime positive. Watching a horror movie, right,
Oh,
but
no.
not bedtime positive. Making the list, so I've got a list, absolutely. Not going to go through it at night, right before bed. Not going to think about what do I add to it. Not going to think about what can I cross off. I'm going to think about the things I'm thankful for. I'm going to, I do have a bunch of books on my bedstand. They are bedtime positive books. I'm
Mhm.
not trying to learn. I'm not trying to solve the world's problems. I'm just reading a book, interesting book, fiction, nonfiction. Um, but again, back to it's so interesting thinking about the pre's and the shoulds. It's easy to get lost in that on your day to day. I mean, it's so easy. Um, One of the things about surgery and one of the things about Ready, Set, Recover that in a weird, strange way is helpful is that there's a date. So
Mhm.
you're having surgery on a date. There's a day and time. There's urgency and fear that you can rally around. So the program and the frameworks that we give, it makes sense. Like, okay, I can do this. I can do this for 24 days. I can do that. It's hard day in, day out when there's not urgency and fear, when there's just, again, you've heard about stress.
Mhm.
You've heard you should avoid it. You've heard there are ways to do it, but sometimes unless there's urgency and fear, unless there's something specific, it's just too easy to just put your head down and try to go through and let it all build up, build up, build up, build up. Um, so yes, I try to,
And if we do that, then we need surgery. Like
yes,
it gets
yes,
bad.
it's a horrible cycle.
Yeah.
It really, really is. Um, so yeah, I try to use these tools and recognize that it's not always easy and recognize and try to give myself grace
Mhm.
when it doesn't work. It's actually, I mentioned getting to meditate with Thich Nhat Hanh. Um, it's a very wonderful story and about actually finding grace in a moment. He was an amazing Buddhist practitioner, monk. He's written so many books on being peace and meditation, just is this incredible being. And I have followed him, for many, many, many years. And he was coming to New York City. And so this was my gosh. And I waited, for hours in line in the hot summer
Mhm.
sun to get into St. John's Cathedral where he was going to be talking. And again, just all of this build up. This is going to be incredible, incredible, incredible. And I get seated, down and we wait and we wait and we wait. And he finally comes on stage, and I'm sitting up in the rafters, and I'm ready for the beauty to wash over me. This is going to be, you know, a seminal moment. It's going to be so incredible. And he starts to talk, and I can't hear a word he's saying.
No.
Nothing. The sound system is terrible. Can't hear anything.
Oh, how frustrating.
And now I'm angry. Are
Mm-hmm.
you freaking kidding me? And I'm like, you know, and I'm looking around and like, why are we not all in revolt? Like, what are we gonna? And now, then I just kind of started laughing to myself, thinking, well, this is it, isn't it? This is the lesson. Things don't always go the way you want.
Nope, sure don't.
What are you gonna do? I also at this point was really super hungry because I had, you know, left work early and had waited and waited. So I'm sitting up there and I decide I'm going to just meditate. I'm going to meditate with Thich Nhat Hanh. Like, that's crazy amazing. And then I'm going to go get sushi. So I sat there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, couldn't hear a word he's saying. I'm just going to be here. I'm going to be here and know that the vibrations he's sending out into the world, I'm a little closer to right now. And there's energy here that's positive. I'm going to experience it. And then I'm going to go get sushi because I'm physically hungry. But those are the things, using the tools in the moment, you know, it's being in the line at the grocery store where, you know, the person ahead of you just can't figure it out. And
Oh, I could
only,
care less about that.
right,
None of that ever bothers me. I'm
right,
like, sure,
right,
go ahead.
right. You know, but it's those moments where you start to, and you think, okay, take a breath, get over it.
Yeah, grand scheme of things, it does not matter.
Yep. Yep.
That's actually, it's cute. So at my grocery store that's near us, we all most of the time feel the same way because we see, you know, we all kind of had that same cycle. We all see each other at the same
Right.
time
Right.
when we go grocery shopping. And we're all so sweet. It's like, oh, well, you have fewer items than me. Go ahead. Sure.
Yeah.
Why not? And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you go.
Yeah.
No, you go. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
we're obviously both nice. Just somebody go
Yes.
and check out. It's we'll
Yes.
all be
Yes.
fine.
When people are fighting to hold the door open, I love it. You know, I like, we're gonna
Yeah.
all try to out nice each other. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So it's comical. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever. We all enjoy the grocery store, so it's
Right.
okay. I'm not in a rush.
Right. Right.
But if you go to a different retailer, it might be a different story.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I think that their business model also lends to, it's like it's Aldi. So,
Yep.
you know, they have their system and we have our typical people who shop there, and
Yep.
it's fun.
Yep.
Okay, well, all of those are fantastic. I'm not taking notes, so I'm gonna have to go back and actually listen to this and take notes. So it's a good thing this
Excellent.
is recorded,
Excellent.
because I need to implement some of those things. But last little like tidbit of advice. So go back to yourself when you started this company.
Yeah.
What piece of advice would you give in yourself now that you know?
Yeah.
Um, what would you tell yourself?
Um, so starting a company is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I joke about when I started it because I created it for myself because I needed it. I was having surgery. And when I was done with the surgery, my surgeon said, I wish all of my patients could be like you.
Oh, wow.
And that was pretty powerful. So I very naively thought, oh yeah, I'll just go start a company. Um, not so easy. I guess what I would say to myself is give yourself grace
Mm-hmm.
and hold on to you are correct that the world needs this.
Mm.
So this is hard, you know, building a business. I went to NYU for business school. You know, I have a business background. I know the business side is difficult. I've entered healthcare. Like, talk about a messed up, complicated, convoluted industry.
Mm-hmm.
I often call it hurt care, what we have versus healthcare. Everyone has a story. Like, there's not a person who I start this conversation who's like, oh no, everything's always been easy for me, and insurance
Oh,
covers everything like that, so I would say to myself, yeah, again, use the tools, take a deep breath. When, I actually just today sent an email to someone, it's my 5th email to them, saying, I know the energy that started when we had that live conversation was real.
mm-hmm.
I could see that you see the benefits. I am now not seeing any more energy from this. You let me know if I should let this go. All you need to do is say that, and I will let it go. There are times when, again, back to this is hard and giving grace. One no doesn't mean everything's a no. One quiet non-response doesn't mean everything's a quiet non-response. I had see, this was great. I sent an email to someone saying, I've been talking with a lot of different people, and someone said I should talk with you. This is what we're doing. It feels like it would resonate with you. And I got an email back. Really? Who said you should talk with me? You bought my name off of a list. This is spam. Nice try.
Yep, we get bombarded with stuff. It's like,
We do.
are you a bot or are you real?
Right. Right. And that brought up all sorts of, oh my gosh, I sound like a bot. I sound like a bot. I sound like spam. I, and anger. Like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
All of those feelings. Took a breath, reread it, emailed back. Thank you so much for the feedback. It's really good to know that this sounded like spam. Like, that is really helpful. Actually, I was talking with this awesome student who knows your work, didn't say I could use his name, but this is his name. He didn't say I couldn't, but he didn't say I could, so I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the person. Your work seems to be wonderfully in alignment with mine. I'd love to talk with you. And the email back was phenomenal. Heather, that you are so gracious. I'm so sorry. He's like, by the way, I thought it was an excellent email. The only reason I responded to it was because I was so impressed by the spam, like
Oh,
the incredibleness, but still spam.
what a
We had a phenomenal
backhanded compliment. Or
right, right. But I'll take it. And then we had a live conversation, and now we might be doing something to work together.
Mhm.
But those are hard moments. So I would tell myself there's going to be a lot of hard moments. Don't draw lines in the sand. Don't, and yet at the same time, you do get to give runways. You do get to give limits. You have to take care of yourself.
Right.
So, we've got amazing momentum right now. And I am thankful that we can be there for people who need us. Everyone should have this kind of support. So I'm very, very thankful for it. But it is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard. And I would tell myself it's going to be harder than you think. Know that that's okay.
Yeah. But if you believe in the why,
Exactly.
you can conquer some of
Exactly.
the hard stuff.
Exactly.
So awesome. Well, this was fantastic. I seriously, I am going back and I'm re-listening to this, but with my nose to the paper and writing some of this down. I'm like, this is fantastic.
I'm
So
so glad.
thank you so much for joining us. And I hope you guys tune in to the next episode and all have a great day.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.